You didn't see him.
No.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Canadian Police and Peace Officers 44th Annual Memorial Service. I am Staff Sergeant Julie Mann from the Ottawa Police Service, and I am accompanied today by Superintendent Rebecca Sutherland from the Canada Border Services Agency. Bonjour et bienvenue au 44e service commémoratif annuel des policiers et des agents de la paix canadiens. Je suis le sergent d'état-major Julie Mann de la police d'Ottawa et je suis accompagnée du surintendant Rebecca Sutherland de l'Agence des services frontaliers du Canada. High Constable John Fisk, Constable Timothy Pomeroy, Constable Charles Richards, Constable Johnson Cochran, Constable Jeremiah Dunn, Inspector of Fisheries William Gibbard, Constable John Curry, First Nations Constable Reuben C.C. Onslow, Guard Henry Trail, Chef Charles Calpin, Agent Thomas Dobin, Agent Georges Clark, Sub-Constable John Nash, Landing Waiter Andrew L. Wilson, Sub-Constable George Mahoney, Sergeant Lazare Doré, Constable Marmaduke Graburn, Constable John T. Usher, Constable Claudius S. Hooley, Chief of Police Richard Power, Landing Waiter and Searcher Huey McLean, Constable George H. Johnson, Constable Adam Wall, Constable John Lawson, Sergeant Thomas Fennessy, Senior Jailer George O. Leach, Constable Thomas J. Gibson, Constable George K. Garrett, Constable George P. Arnold, Constable David L. Cowan, Corporal Ralph B. Slay, Corporal William H. T. Lowry, Constable Patrick Burke, Constable Frank O. Elliott, Constable John Malone, Constable John Beatty, Prison Guard John Routledge,
Constable Alfred Perry, Constable James Heron, Sergeant Albert E. G. Montgomery, Corporal Harry Morphy, Gendarme Georges de Beaujeu, Mason Instructor David Cunningham, Constable William Reading, Constable William Pope, Constable Joseph E. Stedman, Special Constable John R. Davey, Detective Henry Fair, Constable Robert Rankin, Constable William Lindsay, Constable Indian Peter, Sergeant Colin C. Colebrook, Constable Oscar A. Kern, Sergeant William B. Wild, Constable John R. Kerr, Corporal Charles H.S. Hawken, Constable John Hickey, Constable Michael Toohey, Chief Alexander Main, Constable William Boyd, Constable Spencer Heathcote, Constable Norman M. Campbell, Special Constable Stick Sam, Staff Sergeant Arthur Brooke, Constable James Barron, Provincial Constable William Irving Jr., Constable Joseph Russell, Constable Deputy Sheriff John W. Clarkson. Constable James R. Jackson. Corporal Alexander G. Haddock. Assistant Surgeon Walter S. Flood. Constable Archibald Powell. Constable John R. Acton.
Constable George Shea. Constable George E. Wilmette. Sergeant Ralph M. L. Donaldson. Special Constable Isaac Decker. Deputy Warden Richard H. Stedman. Constable Arthur W. Lane. Agent Jules Fortin. Constable Daniel O'Connell. Special Constable Alfred J. Sampson. Constable Richard O. Taylor. Inspector Francis J. Fitzgerald. Constable George F. Kinney. Special Constable Samuel Carter. Constable John Beatty. Constable Jeffrey H. Aston. Constable Louis Byers. Constable Alex Kindness. Constable Francis W. Davies. Inspector Herbert G. Herbert. Constable Robert G. McIntosh. Guard John H. Johnson. Constable Charles Rook. Constable Harry Westaway. Corporal Maxwell G. Bailey. Constable Matthew Hamilton. Chief John A. McCarthy Jr. Constable James Archibald. Acting Sergeant Paul Smith. Constable Michael G. Fitzgerald. Constable John McMonamy. Agent Honoré Bourdon. Détective Richard Lévy. Immigration Officer William C. Hopkinson. Customs Inspector James C. Adams. Turnkey Robert E. Coxford. Constable William Rourke. Agent Alphonse Desjardins.
Immigration Deportation Officer Marshall Jackson. Chief Constable Malcolm McLennan. Constable Arthur S. Duncan. Constable Bernard W. Snowden. Constable Frank Beavers. Deputy Sheriff James McKay. Acting Detective Frank A. Williams. Guard Anton Fladby. Staff Sergeant George S. Bossanage. Constable George Armstrong. Constable William Nixon. Penitentiary Guard Joseph Purcell. County Constable Albert Springstead. Head Turnkey Arthur Ottey. Constable George Stanfield. Constable Thomas Chicone. Sergeant Donald Forbes. Constable Frederick W. E. Bailey. Corporal Ernest Usher. Constable Alex McCurdy. Constable Robert Forster. Constable James Utley. Sergeant Arthur G. Searle. Constable Richard A. Beard. Constable Frank H. Sissons. Constable Reginald Pryor. Assistant Superintendent Norman J. Agnew. Governor John McNabb. Corporal William A. Doak. Constable George E. Osgood. Constable Anthony J. Tierney. County Constable William L. Picard. Constable William M. Holloway. Constable Stephen O. Lawson. Constable Robert G. McBeath. Constable Joseph Truman. Agent Jean B. Boudry. Constable Charles N. Paris. Detective Fred Lefebvre.
Sergeant John Urquhart. Constable Charles Fulton. Constable Ian M. McDonnell. Jail Matron Margaret A. Mick. Park Warden Andrew D. Bauer. Constable Leo F. Cox. Penitentiary Guard Stanley Blyth. Highway Traffic Officer John E. Waddell. Agent Évariste Laframboise. Constable Frederick Rains. Constable Stephen P. McAvor. Game Warden John Billings. Game Warden S. Clark Russell. Guard John Williams. Guard Malcolm E. Jenkin. Inspector Thomas H. Constable. Agent de pêche Agapit Leblanc. Constable Frederick Rhodes. Agent Charles W. St. Charles. Custom Inspector William G. Hughes. Custom Inspector Turner Ingalls. Constable William O.K. McGillivray. Constable Andrew McKay. Constable Lee W. Metcalf. Constable Ernest Sargent. Constable Russell P. Hayward. Constable Albert E. Wells. Traffic Officer Hiram F. O'Callahan. Agent Léo Villeneuve. Chef Jean Ganon. Constable Norman F. Maker. Constable Albert Fisher. Sergeant Richard H. Nicholson. Detective William R. Clark. Constable Miles Campbell. Constable Thomas I. Kehoe. Park Warden Percy H. Goodare.
Constable Fred Bingley. Sergeant Thomas Kirk. Constable James Urquhart. Provincial Game Warden Dennis Greenwood. Agent Dollard Pelletier. Constable James A. McNichol. Constable Roy A. McQuillan. Special Constable Norman Massan. Constable Donald R. McDonnell. Chief John B. Lunt. Agent Paul Bocage. Constable Blair C. Brown. Constable John F. Montgomery. Chief of Police John W. Burden. Game Warden Arthur H. Eisenhower. Constable Albert J. Nault. Constable Edgar Millen. Constable Charles Hefferon. Provincial Constable Daniel J. Craig. Corporal Leonard V. Rawlis. Forest Ranger Lawrence Lees. Provincial Game Warden Albert E. Ferry. Constable Joseph Riley. Constable Joseph DeFerrari. Quarry Instructor Gabriel Childs. Inspector Lorne J. Sampson. Inspector Joe Carruthers. Constable George A. Lenhard. Investigator James Mackey. Agent Joseph Lafleur. Constable Russell Lemon. Constable Colin C. McGregor. Constable Percival Carr. Agent Frank Gisbon. Chief Jules Vachon. Sergeant John Verne. Constable Edward McMaster. Corporal Michael Moriarty.
Detective Charles Miller. Constable William Weinwright. Constable John G. Shaw. Sergeant Thomas S. Wallace. Constable George C. Harrison. Constable Daniel Miller, Constable Charles Gillis, Ranger Danny Corcoran, Constable George E.J. Lewis, Guard John McCormick, Constable Orville E. Story, Guard John S. Sangster, Constable Bernard Junot, Constable George H. Howard, Detective Léopold Chateauneuf, Constable George E. Horan, Sergeant Frederick Davidson, Agent Émile Perra, Constable David D. Beckett, Constable Bartlett Smith, Constable Robert D. Eddington, Constable Donald C. Sherville, Acting Detective James H. Watson, Inspector William Service, Sergeant Robert Gibson, Park Warden Fred Carter, Constable Elmer A. Shepard, Agent Lucien Bourgela, Ranger Michael Green, Constable Willis E. Rodenizer, Constable Frederick R.T. Blutcher, Constable Norman A. Glido, Constable John McDonnell, Sergeant Arthur G. Barker, Constable Frederick G. F. Council, Constable Alfred J. Ferguson, Constable Harry J. Rapier, Agent Gérard Bouchard,
Constable Harold H. Dent, Constable Donald L. Pickle, Sous-Inspecteur Gérard Bourgeot, Constable Roland W. J. Allen, Constable Wilfred J. Cox, Special Constable Henry C. Jarvis, Constable Ovila Roy, Constable Frank P. Clark, Turnkey Kierwood White, Constable Harry Fordham, Gendarme Albert Chartrand, Constable John W. Scott, Constable John Moyes, Customs Officer George A. Jackman, Corporal Lawrence P. Ryder, Chief of Police Thomas S. Espy, Constable Charles F. Hayner, Superintendent Maurice Powers, Corrections Officer Edwin L. Pierce, Agent Henri Farmer, Constable George R. Vanderveer, Jail Guard Robert H. Canning, Constable Robert W. Duncan, Game Warden Wilf Faubert, Detective Thomas Stoneman, Constable Robert A. Wright, Constable Harry L. McKenney, Agent Charlemagne Bouchard, Ranger Michael Collins, Constable Wilfred J. Cobble, Constable Simon F. Fisher, Constable Charles Boys, Constable Oliver Leadingham, Constable Francis A. Graham, Constable Douglas Reynolds, Guard John D. Kennedy, Constable M. Carl Gray, Constable George Yule,
Constable James B. Henderson, Fishery Officer Kenneth E. Weaver, Constable Murdoch J. McDonald, Constable Carl F. Wilson, Agent Paul E. Duranlot, Agent Nelson Paquin, Forest Officer Howard Pegg, Constable Reginald G. Morden, Constable Edward Terrell, Constable Jerry Doe, Provincial Constable Jack Ferguson, Constable George R. Vaughn, Constable Cecil Holden, Constable Alexander Gammon, Constable Herschel T. Wood, Detective Sergeant James E. Sims, Constable John C. Johnson, Agent Alfred Sauvé, Constable Frank Harry, Sergeant Joseph R. Bathersby, Constable Millard A. Brennan, County Constable Mount A. Wood, Agent Ernest Lavergne, Detective Sergeant Edmund Tong, Detective Sergeant James Priest, Constable Stephen Casper, Customs Inspector Percy New, Constable Francis P. Stamp, Constable Kenneth L. Lennon, Constable Joseph K. Sander, Constable Ronald C. Bloomfield, Agent Robert Lévesque, Constable Douglas E. Ferguson, Agent Fabien Galipeau, Agent Georges Constantino, Park Warden Robert Jones, Constable George Donnelly, Constable Ernest Paul, Agent Florian Poirier, Constable Roy E. Laird.
Constable Charles W. Ray. Conservation Officer Lee Branscombe. Deputy Warden Jim Noble. Constable Gordon Sinclair. Inspector David J. McComb. Constable William L. Melsom. Constable John A. C. Behan. Warden William F. Trant. Constable Henry C. A. Chandler. Constable Matthew Kawasnika. Agent Ernest Chalifou. Constable Louis R. Durant. Constable David A. Romano. Constable John R. Cobley. Agent Charles Houle. Sergeant Claire J. McGillen. Constable Philip H. Delarue. Constable Peter S. Seborn. Constable Henry J. Harper. Constable Ronald Pitt. Agent Francois Florent. Constable Kenneth J. Delmage. Constable George W. Smith. Constable Maurice Melanchuk. Constable Glenn F. Farrow. Constable David M. Perry. Constable George H. E. Ransom. Corporal Herbert M. Smart. Constable Carl L. Sundell. Agent Charles-Edouard Denis. Staff Sergeant Stanley S. Rothwell. Special Constable Joseph E. R. Cormier. Constable Richard W. Green. Agent J. Davila Levesque. Constable Willis J. Jacob. Constable John T. Huey.
Agent Roger Beaupré, Constable Calvin R. Rulford, Correctional Officer Ira S. Smith, Constable William Moss, Sergeant Malcolm C.F. Jack, Constable John B. Perkins, Constable Earl M. Doyle, Conservation Officer Harold B. Thompson, Forest Ranger J. Leslie Greer, Constable Colin E. Lelliot, Constable Robert N.B. Kirby, Constable Edward R. Wickens, Matron Emilia Nadeau-Morel, Chef Hubert J. Corbin, Sergent Lucien Donny, Agent Jean-Marc Godmer, Constable Theodore D. Christensen, Constable Ronald A. Ekstrom, Agent Marcel Lacombe, Agent Gérard Richard, Agent Gérard Bernier. Constable Wayne Sinclair. Agent Fredo Simard. Guard William C. Wentworth. Détective Roger Robidoux. Constable Dennis G. Winstanley. Detective Lawrence W. Short. Constable Frederick J. Nash. Constable Donald G. Wingerber. Constable Gordon E. Peterson. Constable Elwood J. Keck. Gendarme Achille O.M. Lépine. Corporal James S. McDonald. Constable David R. Gregory. Constable Marcel Rock. Constable Thomas J. Black. Constable John W. McNutt. Agent Claude Marino.
Agent Denis Brabant. Agent Maurice Trepanier. Constable James W. Foreman. Agent de correction Joseph Tellier. Constable Harley Highland. Agent Philippe Malot. Constable Jeffrey A. Armstrong. Constable Proctor L. A. Malcolm. Corporal Robert W. Aspill. Sergeant Kenneth M. Laughlin. Constable William J. G. Anand. Constable Arthur T. Truman. Constable Patrick C. Armstrong. Inspector Arthur S. Trentham. Constable Roy G. Genex. Detective Sergeant John H. Bassett. Detective Kenneth J. Evans. Gendarme Joseph Dubois. Constable Walter E. McCauley. Constable Calvin L. Byam. Guard Irvin J. Gispret. Constable Alexander M. Prodden. Guard Edwin J. Masterton. Corporal David Chenard. Conservation Officer William Monroe. Constable Robert W. Amy. Constable Reginald W. Williams. Constable David B. Robinson. Constable Neil M. Bruce. Constable Kenneth G. Cornelson. Agent de la Faune Bob Gunthier. Conservation Officer Carl Little. Agent Émile Lachance. Sergeant Laurier Quesnel. Constable Guy Renault. Corporal George Helly. Conservation Officer Alfred B. Newland.
Constable Ronald F. Webster. Constable Thomas P. Carroll. Conservation Officer Charles Moorish. Constable J. Robert Mackey. Constable Philip J. F. Tidman. Constable Edward Oldsworth. Constable Larry Eso. Special Constable Ian F. Collingson. Constable Thomas F. Emery. Agent spécial Claude Gay. Agent Roger R. Beausoleil. Constable Gordon D. Pearson. Conservation Officer William McLeod. Agent Gérald Paradis. Constable Terry E. Tomfor. Constable Donald A. Harvey. Chef Donald Martin. Customs Officer Frederick F. Harris. Agent Yves Saint-Germain. Agent Roger Saint-Jean. Constable Robert W. Varney. Constable James I. Hamilton. Conservation Officer Al Comfort. Game Warden Austin W. L. Letcher. Detective Charles Geary. Agent Ghislain Martineau. Sergent détective Gilles Jean. Constable Gerald F. Miles. Agent Gérard Deschamps. Constable Peter J. Kirk. Constable Samuel E. Ankenman. Agent André Duhaime. Probationary Constable Bradford E. Brown. Agent Alain Falardeau. Detective Sergeant Lorne J. Chapatis. Constable James A. Kerr. Corporal James Smith. Constable Stan Christie.
Sergeant John C. McCurrick. Agent Gilles Boutin. Corporal Terry G. Williams. Constable Leonard W. C. Shakespeare. Constable Robert Carrick. Constable David Goldsworthy. Corporal Robert Dumas. Assistant Forest Ranger Silas Bakey. Sergeant David J. Tuckey. Constable William R. Rogers. Detective Ronald E. Houston. Constable Stefan H. Schultz. Constable Mark L. Holden. Constable William J. Green. Constable Douglas B. Anson. Sergeant Robert J. Schrader. Sergeant James A. O'Malley. Constable Derek T. Ivany. Constable Harold S. Siegel. Constable John C. A. Varral. Agent Gabriel Labelle. Agent Bernard Charlebois. Constable Michael R. Mason. Agent Jean G. Sabourin. Constable Fernand Bertrand. Constable Donald H. Lewis. Detective Douglas T. Sinclair. Detective Michael Irwin. Constable Leslie E. Gardner. Jail Guard John V. Starchuk. Constable Claire L. Lackey. Game Warden Ernest St. Pierre. Garde chasse Médéric Côté. Park Warden Robert Merrick. Park Warden James Brink. Constable James Lothian. Constable Leslie Maitland. Agent Marc-André Gagnon.
Fishery Guardian John Young. Fishery Guardian Calvin Swires. Agent GP Richard Mérette. Agent Richard Larente. Detective Thomas B. Cooper. Corporal Evan V. Gilmore. Constable George B. Mullally. Constable Leonard G. Slater. Agent Normand Tremblay. Constable Vaughn B. McKay. Gendarme Roger E. Pirolet. Gendarme Joseph M.B. Letourneau. Gendarme Joseph H.C. Tremblay. Constable Luciano J. DeSimone. Carpentry Instructor Stanley Green. Constable John T. Traganda. Staff Sergeant Vaughn E. McKay. Agent Aimé Pelletier. Constable Michael A. O'Leary. Caporal Aurel J. Bourgeois. Detective Huey B. Davidson. Constable Gerald A. Thompson. Instructeur J. Louis Nadeau. Constable Gary V. MacDonald. Constable Maurice R.J. Chatterson. Sergent Détective Gilles Beauvais. Correctional Officer Roy W. Eddy. Classification Officer Mary Steinhauser. Agent de correction Joseph A.P. Gosselin. Detective Ronald C. Sproul. Forest Ranger Gary Noseworthy. Garde forestier adjoint Carl Georges. Constable Lee E. Wilson. Constable John B. Baldwinson. Corporal Eric W. Spicer. Corporal Donald R. Arwin. Caporal Michel Bédard.
Staff Sergeant Alan K. Harrison. Agent stagiaire de la Faune Alain Asseboine. Corporal Ronald E. Lee. Constable Paul G. Gosling. Agent Gérald Desfosses. Correctional Officer Conrad E. Coons. Agent Bernard Brassard. Agent Robert Brabant. Constable Dennis M. N. Schweikowski. Constable William V. Schelever. Constable David C. Kirkwood. Special Constable G. David Foster. Agent J. D. Guy Samson. Sergeant Ronald E. McKean. Highway Patrolman John Roscoe. Constable Joseph B. Brophy. Corporal Barry W. Lidstone. Constable John S. Kuznier. Constable Dennis A. Onofre. Directeur Michel Roy. Constable William I. Seward. Agent Jean-Claude Phoenix. Constable Thomas B. King. Constable James L. Begbie. Agent de correction Paul G. Fournier. Constable John Lau. Constable Henry Snedden. Constable Paul E. Patterson. Agent principal de correction Francis A. G. Eustache. Agent des services d'alimentation Joseph Maurice. Constable Lindbergh B. Davis. Constable Mark P. McLaughlin. Agent René Vallée. Park Warden Neil M. Colgan. Gendarme Joseph Doucette. Constable Gordon A. Brooks.
Special Constable Ninjiosik Etidloy. Constable Duncan T. McAllisey. Constable George H. Bennett. Constable Michael W. Sweet. Garde forestier Albert Roy. Constable Roy J. W. Karwoski. Garde-chasse Marc Comeau. Inspecteur des douanes Georges Allary. Constable Richard J. Sedgwick. Agent Gilles Lamarre. Constable Thomas J. Agar. Correctional Officer William Morrison. Agent André Simard. Constable Thomas Hicks. Constable William F. Shores. Constable Richard V. Verdecchia. Agent Pierre Brûlé. Agent Serge Lamy. Constable Pearlie S. Calhoun. Constable Kenneth M. Sweat. Fishery Officer Joseph Tremblett. Corporal Ole R. Larson. Constable James F. Thomas. Forest Officer Roger N. Onisky. Constable Percival B. Cummings. Sergent Jacques Martin. Agent Michel Vincent. Agent Emmanuel Cloutier. Constable Barry F. McKinnon. Constable Perthipole S. Sangera. Agent Laurier Bédard. Constable William H. Smith. Detective Inspector Lorne I. Foran. Constable Richard J.C. Hopkins. Garde de Parc Robert L. Leblanc. Senior Correctional Officer David Van Den Abil Sr. Surveillant principal de correction, Léandre Leblanc. Agent de correction, GB Denis Rivard. Constable Douglas A.M. Butler.
Detective Volker H. Shia. Detective William T. Hawkins. Agent Serge Laforêt. Agent de correction G.A. Serge Delorme. Agent Richard Dubé. Gendarme Richard A. Bourgnon. Constable Russell R. O'Connor. Constable Bruce K. Crew. Constable David W. Utman. Constable Daniel L. Q. Natural Resource Officer Robert C. Logan. Caporal Francis E. Jones. Special Constable Wayne G. Myers. Vehicle Inspection Officer Graham J. Jackson. Corporal William F. McIntyre. Constable Robert C. Anderson. Living Unit Officer Joseph G. Wendell. Living Unit Officer Werner R. Friesen. Constable Douglas F. Tribling. Constable Dwayne B. Pukala. Constable David A. Dunmore. Patroller Pierre Beaulieu. Constable John G. Ross. Constable William J. Grant. Constable Vernon L. Miller. Sergeant Detective Robert Laroux. Constable Alan G. Jeshbrit. Gendarme Michel J. Boudet. Constable Richard J. McLaughlin. Agent Yves Tetu. Agent Jacques Guiguer. Sergeant Jacques Filion. Constable Donald C. Campbell. Constable Jacinthe Fifi. Garde-chasse Alain Chouinard. Constable Mario J. E. Tessier. Special Constable James F. Wilson. Special Constable Wayne P. Boskill.
Constable Randall F. Skidmore. Special Constable Robert Thomas. Corporal Maurice R. Levoy. Auxiliary Constable Frederick A. Abel. Corporal Bud M. Johansson. Agent Claude Saint-Laurent. Constable Scott G. Berry. Agent Marcel Simard. Agent Robert Barry. Agent Damy Tremblay. Caporal Jacques Hamel. Special Constable Gordon Z. Kowalczyk. Sergeant Larry T. Young. Agent Emmanuel J. Aucoin. Corrections Officer Alvin A. Frank. Conservation Officer Henry Kujula. Constable Stephen J. Piesel. Agent Roland La Rochelle. Constable Hugh J. M. Lynn. Agent Gaétan Boutin. Agent Mario Caméré. Agent Richard Rochefort. Agent forestier Donna F. Lalonde. Conservation Officer Donald C. Wood. Constable John R. Gregovsky. Corporal Derek J. Flanagan. Constable Delia S. Biak. Investigator Grant E. Martin. Garde de chasse Luc Guindon. Natural Resource Officer Keith M. Bartley. Special Constable Nancy M. Putcamary. Special Constable Vincent N. Timms. Conservation Officer Murray L. Dole, Saskatchewan Department of Natural Resources. Constable Ezio J. Ferrone, Edmonton Police. Caporal Marcel Lemay, Sûreté du Québec. Constable Gerald V.W. Brees, Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Sergent Jean-Claude Cadieux, Sûreté du Québec. Correctional Officer Daniel Lennon, Solicitor General Correctional Services Ontario. Agent Yves Feneuf, Police de la Communauté Urbaine de Montréal. Sergeant Thomas J. Cooper, Ontario Provincial Police. Conservation Officer T. Arthur Hagen, Saskatchewan Department of Natural Resources. Constable Brian J. Hutchinson, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Constable Scott W. D. Rossiter, Ingersoll Police. Constable Christopher C. Rigler, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Constable Andrew B. Gordon, Ontario Provincial Police. Constable J. E. Sam Balmer, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Garde-chasse Patrick Poirier, Ministère des Ressources, Pêche et Fonds du Québec. Constable Robert J. Vanderweel, Calgary Police. Park Warden Patrick D. Sheehan, Parks Canada. Agente Chantal Mathieu, Sûreté du Québec. Constable Jeffrey Palozzi, Niagara Regional Police. Constable Brent H. Viefkind, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Probation Officer Bill Kennedy, BC Ministry of the Solicitor General and Corrections Services. Constable R. Eric Neidstead, Ontario Provincial Police. Constable Joseph McDonald, Sudbury Regional Police. Constable Richard Sonnenberg, Calgary Police. Constable Richard M. Jean, Ontario Provincial Police. Agent Alain G. Desforges, Police Provinciale de l'Ontario. Sergent Détective Paul Simard, Police de la Ville de Québec. Agent Yvan Filteau, Police de la Ville de Québec. Agent Gaston Paradis, Sûreté du Québec. Constable Albert S. Taylor, Nissewathon First Nations. Agent Stéphane Roy, Sûreté du Québec. Customs Superintendent James Finnemore, Revenue Canada Customs. Customs Inspector David Moore, Revenue Canada Customs. Customs Inspector Ruth Coram, Revenue Canada Customs. Constable Todd E. Bayliss, Metropolitan Toronto Police. Park Warden Simon Parbush-Singh, Parks Canada. Constable John W. Knight, Metropolitan Toronto Police. Sergeant Malcolm N. Williams, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Chief J. G. E. Denis Nadeau, Sainte Marie Police. Agent Kenneth E. Roy, Police Provinciale de l'Ontario. Natural Resources Officer 3, Ken Squark, Manitoba Ministry of Natural Resources.
Constable Norman H. Atkins, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Gendarme Joseph E.A. Gagné, Gendarmerie Royale du Canada. Agente Odette Pinard, Police de la Communauté Urbaine de Montréal. Lynn Sharber, Saskatchewan Department of Social Services. Senior Constable Michael W. Gula, Ontario Provincial Police Niagara Falls. Agent André Lalonde, Police de la Communauté Urbaine de Montréal. Sergeant Derek C. Burkholder, Royal Canadian Mounted Police Lunenburg. Constable L. Tyler Francis, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Fishery Officer Dean J. Miller, Department of Fisheries and Oceans. Conservation Officer Breton Thomas, Saskatchewan Environment and Resource. Conservation Officer Kevin R. Misfelt, Saskatchewan Environment and Resource. Correctional Officer Arnold H. Harrison, Spring Hill Institution. Senior Constable Thomas P. Coffin, Ontario Provincial Police Midland. Agente correctionnelle Diane Lavigne, Centre de détention de Montréal. Agente correctionnelle Pierre Rondeau, Unité de mouvement et de comparution de Montréal. Forest Officer 2 Daniel W. Brink, Alberta Environmental Protection. Forest Officer Gordon W. Brown, Alberta Environmental Protection. Gendarme François L.J. Carrière, Gendarmerie royale du Canada. Constable Gerald Fortis, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, British Columbia. Detective Constable William D.J. Ancox, Toronto Police. Corporal Graham C. Cumming, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Constable David R. Nicholson, Waterloo Regional Police. Agent Dominique Courchaine, Régie intermunicipale de la police de la région de Joliette. Senior Detective Keith A. Badger, Ontario Provincial Police, Caledon. Deputy Sheriff James C. Askew, Attorney General Sheriff Services, Kamloops, British Columbia. Gendarme J.E.J.G. Daniel Bourdon, Gendarmerie royale du Canada, Saskatoon. Sergeant Richard T. McDonald, Sudbury Regional Police. Agent principal Charles Mercier, Police provinciale de l'Ontario, Niagara Falls. Senior Project Officer Daniel T.A. Rowan, Correctional Services Canada. Senior Constable James C. McFadden, Ontario Provincial Police, Chatham-Kent. Constable Mark J. Nuizis, Delta Police. Sergeant Margaret J. Eve, Ontario Provincial Police, Chatham-Kent. Gendarme Noël S. Sadé, Gendarmerie royale du Canada, Alberta. Special Constable Timothy J. Nicholson, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, British Columbia. Sergeant Edwin M. Mobley, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, British Columbia. Agent Alain Forgette, Police de Saint-Hubert.
Agent Alain Mathieu, Police de la Communauté Urbaine de Montréal. Constable Sigward W. Holton, Halifax Regional Police. Park Warden Deirdre J. Dunsford, Ontario Ministry of Natural Resources. Constable Jurgen S. Seawald, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Nunavut. Forest Officer John H. T. Graham, Alberta Sustainable Resource Development. Constable Darren L. Beatty, Calgary Police. Constable Peter Majdik, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Manitoba. Constable Dennis D. Strongquill, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Manitoba. Agent Martin Lefebvre, Police de Shawinigan. Park Warden Michael G. Wynn, Parks Canada, Jasper National Park. Constable Laura J. Ellis, Toronto Police. Agent Benoit Lecuyer, Police de Montréal. Constable Christine E. Diot, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Alberta. Constable Wael T. Audi, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, British Columbia. Constable Paul E. Newdert, Walpole Island Police. Senior Constable Alan G. Kuzmish, South Simcoe Police. Officier du Sheriff Michel Lagage, Bureau du Sheriff, Campbellton. Constable Jimmy Nick, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, British Columbia. Caporal Antonio Arsenault, Sûreté du Québec. Conservation Officer Walter Seolin, Ontario Ministry of Natural Resources, Sault Ste. Marie. Senior Constable Philip R. Shreve, Ontario Provincial Police, Renfrew. Gendarme J.L. Ghislaine Maurice, Gendarmerie Royale du Canada, Alberta. Senior Constable John P. Flagg, Ontario Provincial Police, Kingston. Corporal Stephen D. Gibson, Canadian Armed Forces Military Police, Alberta. Agent Patrick Levesque, Sûreté du Québec, Gaspé. Corporal Jim W. G. Galloway, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Alberta. Constable Christopher G. Garrett, Cobourg Police. Constable Tyler L. Boutillier, Ontario Provincial Police, Grenville. Agent de libération conditionnelle Louise Pargeté, Service Correctionnel Canada. Constable Michael J. Sydock, Ontario Provincial Police, Port Credit. Constable Anthony F. O. Gordon, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Alberta. Constable Leo N. Johnston, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Alberta. Constable Brock W. Myrall, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Alberta. Constable Peter C. Shyman, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Alberta.
Gendarme G.M.M. Jean Mainguy, Gendarmerie Royale du Canada, Colombie-Britannique. Constable Jose M. Agostino, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Alberta. Constable Andrew J. Potts, Ontario Provincial Police, Bracebridge. Agent de protection de la faune, Nicolas Rochette, Ministère des Ressources naturelles et de la faune du Québec. Chef de service Fernand Vachon, Ministère des Ressources naturelles et de la faune du Québec. Agente Valérie Gignac, Service de protection des citoyens de Laval. Agent Jean Goyer, Police d'Abbotsford. Corporal Randy Payne, Canadian Armed Forces Military Police, Alberta. Corporal Matthew Dinning, Canadian Armed Forces Military Police, Ontario. Senior Constable John C. Atkinson, Windsor Police. Agent principal Donald G.Y. Doucette, Police de Sault-Sainte-Marie. Constable Robin L. Cameron, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Saskatchewan. Gendarme Marc G.D. Bourdage, Gendarmerie Royale du Canada, Saskatchewan. Constable David Mounsey, Ontario Provincial Police, Wingham. Agent de protection de la faune M. Richard Cahouette, Ministère des Ressources naturelles et de la faune du Québec, Matagami. Agent Daniel Tessier, Service de protection des citoyens de Laval. Detective Constable Robert Plunkett, York Regional Police. Constable Christopher J. Worden, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, NWT. Constable Douglas A. Scott, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Nunavut. Agent Éric Lavoie, Service de protection des citoyens de la ville de Laval. Constable James L. Lundblad, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Alberta. Constable Alan Hack, Ontario Provincial Police, Elgin County. Agente Mélanie Roy, Service de police de la ville de Lévis. Constable I. Eric Chapnick, Ottawa Police. Sergeant Mark Gallagher, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Chief Superintendent Douglas E. Coates, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Constable A. James Okakovsky, Peel Regional Police. Constable Vu Pham, Ontario Provincial Police Wingham. Constable Chelsea A. Robinson, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Gendarme Michael B. Potvin, Gendarmerie Royale du Canada. Agent Sébastien Coughlin Goyette, Sûreté du Québec. Sergeant Ryan J. Russell, Toronto Police.
Constable Garrett Stiles, York Regional Police. Agent Vincent Roy, Police de la Ville de Bromont. Constable Derek W. H. Pinio, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Community Peace Officer Rodney F. Lazenby, Municipal District of Foothills Protective Services. Agent Katla Hadouchi, Sûreté du Québec. Agent Donovan Lagrange, Sûreté du Québec. Constable Adrian J. Oliver, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Wildlife Officer Howard J. Lavers, Newfoundland and Labrador Department of Justice. Agent Steve Derry, Police Régionale de Kativik. Constable Jennifer A. Kovash, Guelph Police. Conservation Officer Justin A. Nackstead, Saskatchewan Ministry of Environment. Constable John Zivich, Toronto Police. Gendarme Fabrice G. Jovend, Gendarmerie Royale du Québec. Constable Dave J. Ross, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Gendarme Douglas J. Lache, Gendarmerie Royale du Canada. Correctional Officer Rhonda L. Commodore, Manitoba Corrections. Commercial Transport Enforcement Officer Tony D. Christensen, Department of Transport and Infrastructure, British Columbia. Constable David Wynn, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Alberta. Constable Daniel Woodall, Edmonton Police. Agent Thierry Leroux, Police du Lac-Saint-Mont. Constable Sarah A. Beckett, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, British Columbia. Agent Jacques Ostini, Sûreté du Québec. Gendarme Richer Dubuc, Gendarmerie Royale du Canada. Gendarme Francis Deschamps, Gendarmerie Royale du Canada. Constable John Davidson, Abbotsford Police. Constable Ian D. Jordan, Victoria Police. Constable Rob Costello, Fredericton Police. Constable Sarah M. Burns, Fredericton Police. Correctional Officer 2, Lisa J. Zorb, Correctional Service Canada.
Do you feel you were going quicker than last year, or?
Cherchez can see a world of one great family, living in peace and brotherhood, living in harmony. But the world in which we live is a very different place. Fear and hate affect us all, every color, creed, and race. So we must climb the walls across the raging rivers, and we must make a world of peace our common goal. For we can make a difference, we can build a bridge, and open up the pathways to our soul. One small step, bring us all a little bit closer. One small step, beginning today. If we all join hand in hand, every nation, every land, we can take one small step and lead the way.
We must plant a seed of freedom everywhere, nurture it and help it grow in unpolluted air.
But a dream is still a dream unless we do our part. Feed the hungry, help the poor, giving of our heart. So we must climb the walls and cross the raging rivers, and we must make a world of peace our common goal. For we can make a difference, we can build a bridge, and one small step leads the way.
I can see a world.
Let me lead the way. Go now in peace, never be afraid. God will go with you each hour of every day. Go now in faith, steadfast, strong, and true. Know He will guide you in all you do. Go now in love and show you believe. Reach out to others so all the world can see. God will be there, watching from above. Go now in peace, in faith and in love. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Good morning. My name is Teresa Kelm, retired member from the Ottawa Police Service. Please take your seats and remove headdress. The service will be starting momentarily. Bonjour, mon nom est Teresa Kelm, membre retraité de la police d'Ottawa. Membre de la congrégation, asseyez-vous s'il vous plaît et enlevez vos chapeaux. Le service va commencer dans quelques moments. Please take note that during the ceremony, after the lament and last post, there will be the firing of the cannon. I am letting you know so you do not get alarmed. This year, the cannon will be fired near us. We have provided you with earplugs for your protection. Veuillez prendre note qu'il y aura 2 coups de canon pendant la cérémonie. Nous vous en faisons part pour ne pas que vous vous alarmiez. Cette année, les coups de canon vont avoir lieu près de nous. Nous vous avons fourni des bouchons d'oreilles pour votre protection. Today's service is the 44th Canadian Police and Peace Officers Memorial in recognition of all our fallen officers. Today, we want to recognize 2 officers who lost their lives this year and 1 historical officer. Sergeant Andrew Harnett, Calgary Police Service. On December 31st, 2020, Andrew lost his life in Calgary, Alberta, while on duty. Constable Mark Hoving, Ontario Provincial Police, Little Detachment, Ontario. On November 19th, 2020, Mark lost his life in Gore Bay, Ontario, while on duty. Constable John Hickey, Brantford Police Service. Aujourd'hui est le 44e service commémoratif des policiers et agents de la paix canadiens. Aujourd'hui, nous voulons rendre hommage aux 2 agents qui ont perdu la vie cette année, ainsi qu'un agent décédé antérieurement. Sergeant Andrew Harnett, service de police de Calgary. Le 31 décembre 2020, à Calgary, Alberta, Andrew a perdu la vie lorsqu'il était en devoir. L'agent Mark Hoving, police provinciale d'Ontario, détachement Little Current. Le 19 novembre 2020, à Gore Bay, Ontario, Mark a perdu la vie lorsqu'il était en devoir. L'agent John Hickey, service de police Brantford. While we salute Sergeant Andrew Harnett and Constable Mark Hoving's bravery today, we will respect their families' wishes and wait until 2022 to complete our tribute to these fallen heroes. Once again, this year is unique, and we did not want this year to pass without honoring our fallen officers. We have not forgotten the 888 men and women who lost their lives while serving their communities. This year, we updated the tablets to include the historical and recent fallen officers who have been recognized during the past 2 years. The tablets are in their original location next to the Memorial Pavilion. These tablets are a tribute to the police and peace officers who made the ultimate sacrifice while serving and protecting the people of our country. Pendant que nous saluons la bravoure du sergent Andrew Harnett et l'agent Mark Hoving, nous respecterons les souhaits de leur famille et attendrons jusqu'en 2022 pour compléter notre hommage à nos héros disparus. Encore une fois, cette année est unique et nous ne voulions pas qu'elle passe sans honorer les 888 hommes et femmes qui ont perdu la vie en servant leur communauté. Cette année, nous avons modifié les panneaux de verre pour y présenter les agents auxquels on a rendu hommage au cours des 2 dernières années. Celle-ci inclut les agents qui ont perdu la vie antérieurement et récemment. Les panneaux de verre se trouvent à leur emplacement d'origine à côté du pavillon commémoratif. Les panneaux de verre sont un hommage aux policiers et agents de la paix qui ont fait le sacrifice ultime en servant et en protégeant la population de notre pays. Ladies and gentlemen, the welcome address by the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness, the Honourable Bill Blair. Mesdames et Messieurs, allocution de bienvenue du ministre de la Sécurité publique et de la Protection civile, l'Honorable Bill Blair.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is truly an honor to be able to join you all here this morning on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. Today's event has always been an important one for police officers and for Canadians in every community right across this country. I'd like to begin, if I may, by thanking the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, led by Chief Brian Larkin, the Canadian Police Association, led by President Tom Stamatakis, and the Canadian Police Officers Memorial Association, led by Chantal Lewis. Again, this year, under very difficult circumstances due to the restrictions placed upon us by COVID. These three organizations are continuing in their service to ensure the magnitude of the sacrifice of the fallen is never forgotten. Today is a very solemn day. It is a day in which we gather in an act of remembrance, a day of remembrance and sadness for the loss of officers, husbands and wives, mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, friends and colleagues. It is a day in which we reflect upon the loss and a day in which we recognize the sacrifice made by our brothers and sisters in arms. It's a day in which we reflect upon those who, like all police officers, swore an oath to serve and to protect the people of their community and to place themselves in harm's way, knowing the risks, but still taking the action necessary to keep our communities safe. All Canadians know that policing in this country is a noble profession. It draws upon some of the very best men and women of our community who choose a life of service. And there is no higher calling than service to others. And police officers in every town and village, rural area and big city in Canada have made the choice to join our profession, your profession, the profession of policing, in order to serve and protect their communities. They do so knowing the risks. They do so also knowing the enormous challenges of keeping a community safe. But they do so with honor, with integrity, and with a profound commitment to the people of their communities who they have chosen to serve. Every day, men and women of our police services in Canada go out and do the thousands of things that make a difference in the quality of people's lives, in their sense of safety and security in their homes and in their communities. And today is also a day, not just to reflect on the service and the sacrifice of those who gave their lives in their service to their community, but to every man and woman of policing who each and every day makes the choice to go and serve and protect. We owe them our gratitude and our respect for that commitment and our support. Today, we reflect on those who have lost their lives in the service to their country. We recognize the loss of Constable Mark Hovink of the Manitoulin, Ontario Provincial Police, and as well Sergeant Andrew Harnett of the Calgary Police Service. We also take a moment to reflect on the loss of Constable Shelby Patton of the RCMP India Head Detachment in Saskatchewan, and Constable Jeffrey Northrup of the Toronto Police Service, one of mine, 52 Division. We also take the opportunity to recognize some historical names that have been brought forward for recognition. Constable John Hickey of the Brantford Police Service, who died in 1897, and Constable George MacDonald of the Surrey Police Service, who died in 1927. These historical references remind us of the long and proud tradition of service of police officers in Canada, a tradition and of service which is recognized around the world as one of the finest traditions of policing anywhere. Today, on behalf of the Government of Canada and the people of Canada, please let me offer my most sincere condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of the fallen. And let me also pay my very sincere respect and gratitude to all police and peace officers in Canada for their service and for their sacrifice. We share in your commitment to always remember and to honor those who have given their life in service to their communities. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, Waterloo Police Chief Brian Larkin. Mesdames et Messieurs, le Président de l'Association canadienne des chefs de police de Waterloo, Brian Larkin.
Honored guests, family, members, friends of our fallen officers, fellow police and peace officers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and thank you for joining us today in this unique ceremony. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs, et bienvenue à tous. Today we pause to mourn 6 Canadian police and peace officers who lost their life in the last year, and all officers before them who made the ultimate sacrifice while performing their sworn duty of service and protection to communities across our nation. We pay respects to their families, loved ones, friends, and colleagues who must carry on without them. Aujourd'hui, nous pleurons la perte de vie de 6 agents canadiens et nous rendons hommage aux familles et aux proches qui doivent apprendre à vivre sans eux. Today, we also pause, we reflect, and we honor their memory. It is often said that memories are the most beautiful pictures our mind can paint, that nothing can ever erase them, and that they are timeless treasures of our heart. May each of us here on Parliament Hill this morning, and those watching virtually across our nation, find comfort in those special, those dear, and those cherished memories. These memories are the various ways that those officers, our colleagues, our friends, our family members have touched us. And of course, we think of those this year that have touched so many of our lives. Aujourd'hui, nous honorons la mémoire des agents décédés. Que les souvenirs que vous gardez de ces individus puissants pour apporter confort alors que vous vous remémorez les diverses façons dont ces individus ont touché notre vie. Policing and being a police officer and a peace officer is a noble profession, although not one without risk, particularly during these challenging, unprecedented times that we face as a profession. Those we honor today first answered the calling to becoming a peace officer or an officer, devoting their career to responding to calls for service from individuals who are often in distress, in crisis, and who need a helping hand. They were consistently being asked to go above and beyond the call of duty, and they did so with extreme and so much pride. As this past year, they were called home to their final resting place. They were devoted to ensuring the safety and security of all those around them, serving their community, serving their colleagues, and serving our great nation with distinction and honor. Ils étaient dévoués à la sécurité et au bien-être de tous que les environnements, servant leur communauté, servant leur pays avec distinction et honneur. C'est pourquoi nous leur rendons hommage aujourd'hui. Today, and every day, we pay our respects. We pay our respects silently in our own hearts, and today, publicly on behalf of all Canadians. Aujourd'hui, nous rendons hommage en silence et hommage dans notre corps. Et aujourd'hui, publiquement, au nom de tous les Canadiens. The wreaths we lay today are a sign of respect, a circular symbol which represents the unending circle of life. While the lives of these officers may have been cut short, we know their legacy shall live on in the memories. We hold them as loved ones, relatives, friends, colleagues, and community servants. On behalf of the Canadian Peace Officers Memorial Association, the Canadian Police Association, and the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, collectively, in unison, we would like to extend our deepest sympathies to the families, to the loved ones of our fallen officers. They remain forever in our hearts, in our minds, and in the collective memory of our country. Au nom de l'Association commémorative des agents de la paix du Canadien, de l'Association canadienne des policiers de l'Association et l'Association canadienne des chefs de police, j'aimerais, en unissant, offrir notre plus sincère condoléance aux familles et aux proches de nos agents décédés et rester à jamais dans nos corps, dans nos esprits et dans la mémoire collective de notre pays. They are heroes. We shall never forget them. Ce nos héros, nous les oublierons jamais. Merci. Thank you.
Please stand for the opening prayer read by Reverend Canon Robert Hurd, Chaplain, Ottawa Police Service. Veuillez vous lever pour la prière d'ouverture récitée par le révérend chanoine Robert Hurd, aumônier du service de police d'Ottawa.
Our thoughts now reach out to embrace the memory of all police and peace officers who have spent their lives and freedoms to ensure the lives and freedoms of the members of communities entrusted to their care. They were and will always remain for us our friends, our comrades, our family. Their passing has brought us much pain and much sadness. Ô Seigneur notre Dieu, vous qui avez veillé sur notre naissance, pour nous accueillir dans vos bras au moment de notre mort. Soyez notre refuge et notre consolation, alors que nous pleurons la disparition de nos êtres chers. Aujourd'hui, embrassez-nous avec amour. Donnez-nous de l'espoir malgré la confusion et la grâce de nous abandonner à une vie nouvelle. Tout cela, nous vous le demandons par la puissance de votre Esprit éternel, dispensateur de vie. Amen.
Please be seated for the first reading read by Superintendent Rebecca Sutherland from the Canadian Border Service Agency. Veuillez vous asseoir pendant la première lecture lue par Surintendant Rebecca Sutherland, Agence des services frontaliers du Canada.
I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where is my help to come? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved, and he who watches over you will not fall asleep. Behold, he who keep watch over Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord himself watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand, so that the sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve you from all evil. It is he who shall keep you safe. The Lord shall watch over your going out and your coming in, from this time forth, forevermore. Je lève les yeux vers les montagnes. D'où le secours me viendra-t-il? Le secours me viendra du Seigneur, qui a fait le ciel et la terre. Qu'il empêche ton pied de glisser, qu'il ne dort pas, ton gardien. Non, il ne dort pas, ne sommeille pas, le gardien d'Israël. Le Seigneur, ton gardien, le Seigneur, ton ombrage, se tient près de toi. Le soleil, pendant le jour, ne pourra te frapper, ni la lune durant la nuit. Le Seigneur te gardera de tout mal, il gardera ta vie. Le Seigneur te gardera au départ et au retour, maintenant, à jamais.
A prayer will now be read by Constable Lisa Bocage, Ottawa Police Service. Une prière sera maintenant lue par l'agente Lisa Bocage du service de police d'Ottawa.
I give you this, one thought to keep. I am with you still. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on the ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not think of me as gone. I am with you still in each new dawn.
To a place where we'll be safe. us to a place, guide us with your grace, give us faith so we'll be saved. We're dreaming of a world that has no violence, a world without injustice, war, and hunger, where neighbors give a helping hand to strangers as a sign of friendship, brotherhood, and love. We ask that life be kind and watch us from above. We hope each soul will find another soul to love.
Let this be our prayer.
Let this be our prayer, just like every child.
Just like every child.
Need to find a place, guide us with your grace, give us faith so we'll be saved. And now with this faith, which is in our hearts, we can feel that we'll be saved.
Please stand for the lament and the last post. Members in uniform, please replace headdress. Veuillez vous lever pour les lamentations. Membres en uniforme, veuillez remettre vos chapeaux. Please do not be alarmed after the lament. There will be the first firing of the cannon. If you wish, you may use your hearing protection. Si vous le désirez, vous pouvez utiliser vos bouchons d'oreille.
Honor guard! Attention! General salute! Freestand! Arms! Attention!
We will now honor these fallen heroes with a moment of silence. Following the moment of silence will be the second firing of the cannon. Nous rendrons maintenant hommage à ces héros disparus en observant un moment de silence. Please be seated for the laying of the wreaths. Veuillez vous asseoir pour le dépôt des couronnes. Representing the Government of Canada, the first wreath will be presented by the Honourable Bill Blair, Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness. Représentant le gouvernement du Canada, la première couronne sera présentée par l'Honorable Bill Blair, ministre de la Sécurité publique et de la Protection civile. Representing the Canadian Police Association, President Tom Stamatakis. Représentant l'Association canadienne des policiers, le président Tom Stamatakis. Representing the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, President Brian Larkin. Représentant l'Association canadienne des chefs de police, le président Brian Larkin. Representing the Canadian Peace Officers Memorial Association, President Chantal Lewis. Représentant l'Association canadienne commémorative des agents de la paix, la présidente Chantal Lewis. Representing the United States of America, Law Enforcement, Lieutenant Edward Strome, New York State Court. Représentant les forces de l'ordre des États-Unis d'Amérique, le lieutenant Edward Strome des tribunaux de l'État de New York. On behalf of all the family members of our fallen officers, the final wreath will be laid by Catherine Oliver, mother of Constable Adrian Oliver, Anthony Karutowski, son of Constable Eric Chapnick, and Tricia Kirkwood, daughter of Constable David Kirkwood. Au nom de tous les membres des familles de nos héros disparus, la dernière couronne sera déposée par Catherine Oliver, mère de l'agent Adrian Oliver, Anthony Karutowski, fils de l'agent Eric Chapnick, et Tricia Kirkwood, fille de l'agent David Kirkwood. Please stand for the national anthem sung by the Ottawa Police Chorus. Veuillez vous lever pour l'hymne national chanté par les regroupements de chœurs Service de police d'Ottawa.
Attention! General salute. Freestand. Arms!
Ô Canada, terre de nos aïeux, ton front le
Please remain standing for the prayer of dismissal. Veuillez demeurer debout pour la prière de départ.
Que Dieu te bénisse et te garde. Que Dieu fasse pour toi rayonner son visage et te fasse grâce. Que Dieu vous protège et qu'il vous donne la paix. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and fill you with his grace. The Lord protect you and give you peace. Amen.
This concludes the 44th Canadian Police and Peace Officers Memorial Service. Following the service, the Honour Guard will lay the wreaths at the tablets. To the families here on Parliament Hill and to those who are not present today with us, we are thinking of you and your loved ones, our fallen heroes who have made the ultimate sacrifice for their communities. Our thoughts are also with our fallen heroes, friends, and colleagues. Ceci met fin au 44e service commémoratif des policiers agents de la paix. Suite au service, la garde d'honneur déposera les couronnes près des panneaux de verre. Aux familles ici sur la colline parlementaire, ainsi que ceux qui ne sont pas présents, nos pensées sont avec vous ainsi qu'avec vos proches. Nos héros disparus qui ont fait le sacrifice ultime pour leur communauté. Nos pensées sont également avec les collègues et amis de nos héros disparus. Merci. Thank you.
The world in which we live is a very different place. Fear and hate affect us all, every color, creed, and race.
So we must climb the walls across the raging rivers, and we must make a world of peace our common role. For we can make a difference, we can build a bridge and open up the pathways to our soul. One small step, bringing us all a little bit closer. One small step, beginning today. If we all join hand in hand, every nation, every land, we can take one small step and lead the way. We must plant a seed of freedom everywhere, nurture it and help it grow in unpolluted air.
But a dream is still a dream unless we do our part. Feed the hungry, help the poor, giving of our heart.
So we must climb the walls across the raging rivers, and we must make a world of peace our common goal. For we can make a difference, we can build a bridge and open up the pathways to our soul. One small step, bringing We are all